Hello students, how are you all? This is Rahima again and I welcome you to the second video of reproduction in animals. Like you already know, in the previous video we discussed about the different types of reproduction, asexual and sexual method, and I give you a little overview of how asexual reproduction takes place in different animals. Then we moved on to the reproductive system of human beings and we started off with the male reproductive system. And in this video, the topics that we are going to cover will be shared through the screen. So let's start off. So the topics to be covered here will be female reproductive system. The second topic is fertilization. Then we will move on to types of fertilization, and then finally we will end it off with in vitro fertilization. So let's start. The female reproductive system includes the following important parts. There, there is ovary. There are two ovaries, one on the right hand side and one on the left hand side. So there is a pair of ovaries, and a pair of ovaries have a pair of fallopian tube also. So this is fallopian tube. Okay, so one fallopian tube is arising from the left ovary, one from the right ovary. Both of these fallopian tubes then enter into the uterus. Uterus is large muscular organ, and then uterus ends into cervix, and cervix ends into the vagina. Okay, these are the important parts of the female reproductive system. So I'm going to just list them down here. A pair of ovaries, a pair of fallopian tubes or oviducts, uterus, cervix, and vagina. Okay, the lining of the uterus is very thick and it consists of three layers of muscles. Perimetrium is the outer one, myometrium is the middle one, and endometrium is the inner one. Okay, so this cervix actually opens into a canal like region, that's why it is known as cervical canal. Then cervical canal ends into vagina. Okay, these finger like projections which are of the fallopian tube which are attached to the ovary are known as fimbriae, and they actually, when the egg is released from the ovary, they catch it and then send it to this region. This region is basically the ampullary region, ampulla of fallopian tube, where fertilization takes place. Okay, you can also see this tiny little embryo in the uterus. Okay, here basically implantation takes place, implantation of the embryo and further development of the embryo into a fetus takes place. So that's why an embryo is shown here. Okay, now basically we will discuss first of all the functions of various part of the female reproductive system. Okay, so the first part is ovary. Ovary is involved in production of the female reproductive cell, the female gametes, which are the eggs. Okay, apart from eggs, it also synthesizes the female reproductive hormones, which are production of estrogen and progesterone. So, estrogen is basically involved in the production of eggs. It is also involved uh, in the appearance of secondary sexual characters in females, whereas progesterone is solely responsible for pregnancy. That's why it is also known as pregnancy hormone. Okay. The second region is the fallopian tube. Second part, fallopian tube is involved in fertilization. So the ampullary region of fallopian tube helps in fertilization of the embryo. And it also helps in transfer of the fertilized egg into the uterus. Okay. Then the third part is uterus. Uterus is the region where implantation takes place. Implantation is the fixing of embryo and its further development into a fetus. Okay. Uterus basically opens into cervix. Cervix has no such function, but vagina is is also known as the birth canal. Okay, this is the region where basically copulation takes place and penis transfers the sperms into the female reproductive system. And also this is the region from where during the birth of the baby comes out. Okay, so these are all the functions of the female reproductive system. The female reproductive system, here I want to focus more on the hormones. The first hormone that I told you is estrogen, and the second hormone is progesterone. So the first hormone is basically involved in the uh, development of the mature eggs. Without estrogen, eggs will not mature and they will not be viable. So for the presence of estrogen in the blood is very important of a human female for the production of mature eggs. Okay, secondly, it is responsible for the appearance of secondary sexual characters. Okay, like development of breasts, broadening of hip region, changes in voices, appearance of hair in the pubic region and in the underarm region is also one of the character. Okay, all this is under the influence of estrogen. Progesterone, like I said, it is known as pregnancy hormone. The surge of progesterone occurs in the blood after the fertilized egg, the egg has been fertilized and the fertilized egg has been transported to the uterus where the fixing or implantation of the embryo takes place. Sorry, not the uterus, embryo takes place. So this embryo will further increase the release of progesterone from follicle which gets formed inside the ovary after the release of the egg, after the fertilization of the egg. It persists inside the ovary and it continuously secretes progesterone so that pregnancy can be successful. Okay, this can only occur under the influence of only and only progesterone. Okay, so these are the two important hormones, and this is what all the female reproductive system does. So let's move on with the. Now, here I would like to basically give you an idea. Usually, female reproductive system is very easier to make. So in the questions, usually it is asked to draw female reproductive system. Okay, so if you are drawing the female reproductive system, it is actually a very easy process. You don't have to put a lot of thought into it. So first of all, you can start off with the central region. Okay, and then uh, this central region will be flask shaped. Okay, which you can see, and here I have made the vagina and the cervix. Okay, so this is the uterus, and then you can proceed off with making fallopian tubes and the ovary. So guys, also focus on the uh, diagram part of this chapter. Now we will label the parts. Okay, this is ovary, this is the fallopian tube. It doesn't have to be accurate. Okay, but the parts that you're labeling, they have to be correct. Obviously, this is the cervix and this is the vagina. Okay, so I hope you liked my diagram. So let's move on with the process of fertilization. Now you have studied about the male reproductive system, you have studied about the female reproductive system, what both of them are involved in, what are the characteristic, what are the function of each parts of the these two reproductive system. You're well aware of that. Now the next step in the reproduction process is the meeting of the male gamete with the female gamete. Okay, this process is known as fertilization. So fertilization is the process of fusion of male gamete with the female gamete. That is the egg. Okay, when they are fusing with each other, the nucleus from the sperm, it enters the egg, and there it meets the nucleus of the egg, and the nuclei of both male and female gamete, the sperm and the egg, fuse with each other, and this process is actually known as fertilization. Okay, so there are two terms, okay, that you need to remember when you are discussing, when you are actually studying about reproduction. Okay, there is haploid and there is diploid. Okay, we say it is a haploid cell when there is only one set of chromosome is there. Okay, one set of chromosome. Okay, we say it is a diploid cell when there are two sets of chromosome in it. Okay, so haploid having a one set of chromosome, diploid having two sets of chromosome. Example I'm going to give you of a human cell. A human cell has a somatic cell, okay, is diploid. Okay, and when we write diploid, we represent it by 2n. When we write haploid, it is represented by just n. Okay, so somatic cells of human beings, that means the vegetative cells, they are diploid and they have 46 chromosomes in it. Okay, and the reproductive cells means the sperms and the egg, they are haploid, means they only have 23 chromosomes in them. Okay, so when sperm is fusing with the egg, sperm is N, okay, and egg also is N. When they fuse with each other, they form a diploid structure, which is the zygote. Okay, so it is a process of fusion of sperm with the egg to form a single celled structure called zygote. Okay, remember that zygote is a single celled structure. Then there are multiple divisions which take place in the zygote, and a single cell zygote converts into a multicellular structure which is known as an embryo. Embryo comes down while the zygote is coming down from the ampullary region into the towards the uterus. This cell division continuously takes place, and then finally the multicellular embryo gets fixed into the uterus, and where the further development of the embryo takes place. Okay, but that is a question that you will be asking in the next video. Okay, here we are going to focus on the types of fertilization, which are internal and external fertilization. Okay, so internal and external fertilization, as the name is already, suggesting, it is actually the fertilization which takes place inside, and external is the fertilization which takes place outside. Okay, so if we talk about internal fertilization, this is the fertilization that is taking place inside the female body. Okay, fertilization takes place inside the mother. Okay, inside the mother's body, you can write more accurately. And here fertilization takes place outside the mother's body. Okay, external fertilization is very common in fishes and amphibians like frogs, toads. Okay, and internal fertilization is common in reptiles like lizards, snakes, birds, okay, and mammals. Okay, so these examples you have to remember. So fertilization is something that we are talking about higher animals. Okay, so fishes and amphibians have external fertilization, and reptiles, birds, and mammals have internal fertilization. Okay, so now we are going to discuss a very interesting and an important topic which has changed lives of many people, of many couples who cannot conceive. Okay, which is in vitro fertilization. So in vitro fertilization means the fertilization which is occurring inside the test tube. Okay, with the help of in vitro fertilization, you people must have heard also test tube babies are produced. Okay, so let's see what are the important steps in vitro fertilization. So, in vitro fertilization, first the ovary is stimulated by hormone therapy. The hormones that are given are estrogen, is a combination of estrogen and progesterone. So, when the ovary is stimulated by hormone therapy, egg is released from the ovary. Okay, and then the second step is about picking up the egg. So, egg is picked up. Okay, and at the same time the sperm is also prepared, and both egg and sperms, they are allowed to fuse with each other, which is known as egg fertilization. Okay, after the fertilization is successful, they are embryo are allowed to develop, and this is all taking place in a petri dish. Okay, in the lab, in the laboratory conditions. Okay, so it is embryo development is also taking place inside the petri dish. So after the embryo develops successfully, I told you know that zygote is a single celled structure, and it continuously divides and redivides to form a multicellular structure which is known as embryo. Okay, embryo is then taken in a cannula, and it is transferred into the uterus of either the same female or another female. Okay, where it is fixed and the normal development of the embryo takes place. Okay, this embryo transfer that is taking place in another female other than the one who donated the egg, or the mother you can say. Okay, because the eggs, the donor of the eggs can also be a different female, or it can be the same female. Okay, the mother, I mean, and the implant, for the implantation, for embryo transference, it can also be done in the same female, that is the mother, or in a different female, that is not the mother. Okay, so when it is taking place in a different female other than the mother, then it is known as, that process is known as surrogacy. Okay, and the female will be known as the surrogate mother. Okay, so like I said, it is a very successful process nowadays, and a lot of childless couples are able to have children. Okay, and it is a very interesting process also. Okay, so guys, now I'm going to discuss few important things with you. So there is, you can see what is written here: spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Okay, spermatogenesis is the process of formation of sperm. Okay, formation of sperm. Okay, so the spermatogonia here, they develop into spermatids. Okay, and spermatids then mature into sperms. Oogenesis, on the other hand, it is the process of formation of eggs, which take place inside the ovary. Spermatogenesis is taking place inside the testes. Okay, it is the process of formation of eggs. Okay, so next important thing that I would like to discuss with you is about unisexual and bisexual animals. There are some animals who are carrying both the male and the female reproductive system in the same body. And there are some animals which carry only one reproductive system in the body, okay, either male or female. So the unisexual animals are those animals which are carrying either the male or the female reproductive system. Okay, just a second. Unisexual animals. These animals carry either the male or the female reproductive system. inside the body. Okay, unisexual animals are uh, all the higher animals. Okay, mammals, birds, okay, reptiles, fishes, even amphibians. Okay, bisexual animals, on the other hand, are all the lower animals. So these animals carry both male and female reproductive system inside the same body. Okay, so all the lower animals are like earthworm, leeches, tapeworm, okay, snails, etc. All these are bisexual animals. Okay, bisexual animals are also known as hermaphrodite animal. Okay, the spelling is this. So they are also known as hermaphrodites. So wherever you see hermaphrodite, just understand that these animals are bisexual. Okay, they are carrying both the reproductive systems in the same body. Okay, so with this, we are going to start the questions. The first question is to label the numbered parts in the diagram given below. So the first part is, I will give you a couple of seconds to recall everything. Okay, so I think you people have understood. First part is fallopian tube. Okay, second part here is ovary. Third is cervix. Fourth, uterus. Fifth, vagina. Okay, which I again said are the most important parts of the female reproductive system. The second question is, which processes are shown in the figure below? These two figures are of the spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Okay, so the first figure where you see spermatogonium is converting into spermatids, and spermatids then develop into mature sperms. This process is the spermatogenesis process. Okay, and the one on the right hand side where the oogonium is developing into egg is the oogenesis process. Okay, so you don't have to go much into the detail about the process. You just have to see that where the spermatids are getting formed and the eggs are getting formed, that process is the formation of the sperms, that is spermatogenesis, and the formation of eggs, that is oogenesis, respectively. Okay, so let's move on to the next question, where we have to state the functions of the following parts of the female reproductive system: fallopian tube, ovary, and uterus. So, you people are well aware of the functions of fallopian tube, ovary, and the uterus. Okay, fallopian tube is involved in fertilization. Okay, ovary, oogenesis. Okay, I think mentioning only one function is enough. And uterus, it helps in implantation. Okay, so let's move on. And here we have to state the functions of the female reproductive hormones. Okay, function is written here, so one function is enough. So you're again well aware of the functions of the two female reproductive hormones, which are estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen is involved in oogenesis process again, Like I said, without estrogen in the blood, the synthesis of production of eggs, mature eggs, cannot take place. Progesterone, it is the pregnancy hormone, and it helps in the development of embryo inside the uterus, and without this it is not possible. So short and simple. Okay, so in this question you have to look at the figure and tell what this figure represents. So it is a very beautiful picture, and this figure represents, if you're thinking about fertilization, then you're probably correct. So this figure here represents the fertilization process, where you can see the sperms are moving towards the egg for fusion. Okay, so these are the sperms, and this is the egg. Okay, so again there are some pictures, and by looking at the pictures here, you have to mention the sexuality of the following organisms. Okay, so this is earthworm, right? Earthworm is unisexual or bisexual? It is bisexual. Okay. Frog, unisexual or bisexual? Unisexual. Okay, let's move on. There, same question is there, only the pictures are changed. Okay, this fish is salmon. Okay, salmon is unisexual. Okay, snail is bisexual. Okay, so this is a starfish. This is lion, and this is a leech, blood sucking leech. Okay, a starfish is unisexual or bisexual? It is bisexual. Okay, lion is a unisexual animal, and leech is also a bisexual animal. Okay, so two more pictures are there, but here you have to find what kind of fertilization is found in these animals. So on one side there is a frog, okay, and on the other side there are birds. So in frogs external fertilization is found, and in case of birds internal fertilization is found. Okay, you can see these are tiny little babies, which are carried on the back of this frog. There are certain frogs which actually have well marked parental care. So parental care is very common in animals also. Okay, this is one of the most um, amazing part of animal behavior, which I like. So guys, with this we have ended the video. I hoped you liked it, and I hoped more than that you understood it. If you have any further questions, you can post them on the forum. I will be very happy to answer your questions. Stay tuned for my next video of the same topic. Thank you.